All right, what's up, guys? Zach and Kyle
Hey, what's up,
recapping the
guys?
game. All right.
So, yeah, this one, this one was hard again. You know, just like it has been. I mean, I know you guys as Charger fans as well too that are also watching. It's hard to be a fan. To actually see that it's once again another game where we lose by within a touchdown or within a score, and we just can't pull through at the end. We just can't stay consistent, and we just got another loss today when just like some of the other games we had it. We kind of felt like we had it in the bag, and the Chargers end up just losing it towards the end of the game.
Yeah, it was so in the first quarter, the defense was doing its job, of course. Like
Yeah,
we can always count on the defense to do its job in the first half, and then like completely shit the bed in the
yeah.
second half. But I mean, the offense was not doing good either for the first half. I mean, first quarter.
I think for both teams, offense kind of both didn't do so well. I mean, both were actually able to kind of penetrate and get to the quarterback and put a lot of pressure on them. So I think it was kind of 3-0 for a while because I think there was a turnover by Herbert, and then they end up only scoring due to a field goal. So that
Yeah,
was like I think that was a game a little bit during the very first quarter. So it was very defensive. It was all very defensive between both teams when they actually played in the first quarter when they first started the game.
yeah. So Justin Herbert, I believe in every game he's played, he has well, except for one game. There's one game he hasn't thrown an interception, but every game he's thrown an interception worthy pass. In this game, he did two about the Mike Williams, the second interception to Mike Williams. I don't know if who we can fault on that. Usually when you throw it up to Mike Williams, he comes down with it.
Yeah, I think he was. It was a little underthrown. It looks like it was closer
He
to.
could have
That
threw
was
it higher,
crazy.
yeah.
I would think he threw it higher because I think Mike Williams could have actually. He had to actually reach forward for it. I think when he actually had the pass, but it was a little bit lower where the defensive player could actually have their grip. And I'm surprised that that defensive player was able to actually get that catch. That was pretty crazy. But it looked more towards like it definitely could have been a little bit more higher where it was more of an angle where only Mike Williams had could grab the ball, and he could definitely look like he could reach a little bit higher to actually get that ball.
Yeah, so not to fault Justin Herbert. I mean, he's a rookie. Like he's
Yeah.
been playing amazing for what given the circumstances. And the O line, well, I don't know if the O line was as bad today, but um, yeah, I don't know. They
I think
just
though. Okay, keep going.
oh no, the running game actually was the only positive side, right, of the offense. No fumbles. Um, they had over 200 yards, I believe. Justin Jackson went off, but
Let me see for the stats between the Chargers. The rushing game actually 89 yards rushing for Justin Jackson. Pope actually had a few good amount of yards as well too. I think they actually started going towards Pope towards
the
definitely
number
towards the second half.
yeah, then
Yeah,
number
he
22 knocked him out. On the Broncos, he kind of leads with his head a lot.
yeah, so that was unfortunate to actually see that, but he was able to pick up 67 yards. They same thing with Justin Jackson 89 yards, Joshua Kelly 32 and Justin Herbert with 21. But going back to I actually wanted to mention going back to the play that he did throw an interception.
The
That
first one?
actually was none of the. I think the one you were talking about, the one where he threw to Mike Williams and then it ended up going towards the Broncos player from behind, and he was able to actually get possession. That for me, I think that was definitely a risky play. Also, because I
Yeah.
think they also had a turnover at that possession. They were within at least field goal range. That's actually one of the hardest points about the Chargers is not only just staying consistent, but like I think just one of the things too is not getting too antsy and just like, just making smarter plays, making smarter decisions. I personally would have just rather had the field goal there and had the Broncos, you know, earn take like earn their what's it called? Be able to kind of just deal with the field goal. We'll be able to kind of play with the Broncos back there, like instead of actually getting a chance to, that could have been a difference in the game, getting those 3 extra points because we did
Yeah.
lose by one.
Uh,
So
that
yeah, just
interception killed us definitely. But
yeah,
there was the two touchdown or there was huge plays that the defense gave up. I believe I saw Nasir Adderley on the floor when he could have made the tackle for one of the touchdowns.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened, dude. It's just, I mean, there was at one point during the game, maybe in the third quarter, I was like, dude, if we win this, this is not really a good win. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
To be honest, I think I've been getting a lot of talk about like basically the chart. It felt like it was a totally different team in the second half. Like I think they were like 21-3 was I think their highest score position. So you're up by 18 points. So they're
Yeah.
by the third quarter they scored a touchdown. They managed to take possession, score a touchdown, which was exciting to see with Mike Williams. You know, they were up 21-3. You know, they were able to get the punt, get a field goal. Actually, no, 24-3. Somewhere in the third quarter, they were able to actually take possession. It became a little difficult because I feel like they, you know, I think that Bosa being out, you know, dealing with that concussion, they actually lost some pressure. But I
Yeah.
just felt as though there was so many holes. There was, you know, Lindsey started going off. There was just so much, you know, weaknesses within the secondary. You know, I think there was a few times Judy was open. There was a few times Hamilton was open, and it was hard to kind of like those are killer. Like when you're in a lead, you kind of want to keep them right in front of you as best you can. You never want to let them, you know, get the big play because that's actually giving them a spark to get back into the game. Like we want to stop
Yeah.
those big plays. You know, Lindsey had to end up having a 50-yard touchdown to kind of start shifting momentum. You know, he got a 50-yard rushing touchdown, and then you know, I know they threw the interception and went back and forth between the Chargers and the Broncos during that one time, but then once the Broncos get back possession, they were able to kind of just march their way up the field, getting Locke started getting some throws and catches and completions to some open receivers out there, and it was just like, what is going on with this defense? Like, you know, it doesn't feel like this was definitely this. I don't know if they were getting tired, but this is definitely not the same defense they were playing in the first half.
Yeah. I don't know. Just, it's just never pretty to watch during the second half. Um,
Yeah.
Besides last game, but I guess they just, and it's been like that for the past what, forever, for actually the whole time that Anthony Lynn has been coach. We lose by like 3 or 7 points, pretty much every single time.
Yeah, I mean, it happens a lot. It's been happening a while. I mean, it's not even just been this season. I mean, this season's already been brutal enough, but it's happened the last couple seasons where they just lose by one possession, and it's just because I don't know. It could be some defensive breakdown. It could be just the offense can't get anything going, and they just can't, you know, close it out in the end. You know, last week they showed it, but this week I think they could have done the same thing. They just, you know, I think that what was interesting is that they allowed at the last three possessions after that interception that the Broncos did, and you know the Chargers gave it right back to them. It was three possessions that the Broncos scored three touchdowns in a row. I think within the fourth quarter, and that's definitely something I want to see. And then in between, we just had field goals. It was just like giving them 21 straight and only scoring field goals. I mean, it was. I mean, I feel like they definitely could have they stepped up more definitely on defense. You know, not give. You know, they can give maybe a touchdown or two, but like it's just hard to kind of see like this is the defensive shutdowns. You know, the loose openings, just the open field. You know, secondary. You know, just I
Yeah.
don't know. I'm not sure if there was you know, a lot of coaching decisions that was actually the best during these times. Like, you know, if there was, they needed more help when it comes to the receivers. I mean, once they probably had that possession within 24 and 17 and they were within one possession, that should have been the urgency as the Chargers to kind of like, okay, what kind of coaching scheme or what kind of thing can we do now to kind of lock things up? You know, we got a field goal. Great. Okay. Now we got to respond back as a defense to kind of hold them or at least hold them to a field goal, you know, but within this, I think after the first touchdown, the touchdown within the fourth quarter, when they were 24-17 and they were within possession and the field goal happened, the second touchdown only happened in the fourth quarter within just 27 seconds. It was, let's see. I think it was just a big play, which was Philip Lindsay getting 20 yards in, and then finally a deep pass, a 40-yard touchdown to Hamilton. And that, when you just see something like that, it's just like, what is going on? Like, this is, you guys are giving them life in this game. You know, we're not managing the clock. We're not, you know, and they could have done it definitely at the very end of the game too. I mean, they were getting some running games towards the end when they were still up, I think, by like 3 points, you know, but they were getting some running game going on. But you know, there was just a lot of things that weren't going right, especially towards the end of the game when we're actually starting to get a lot of penalties called on us. And to be honest, a lot of them seemed even questionable in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know, but
Yeah.
did you remember? So when we kicked the last field goal and made it 30, the
Yeah.
reason why we settled it for that, I believe, was
We had
because
a holding penalty, I think.
on Hunter Henry, and I don't remember seeing. I can't recall
Yeah.
how if it was questionable or not, but that hurt us big time because it made it what like a third and long.
100%.
Um,
Yeah.
and also the penalties that our defense made at the end are
Yeah.
one of our cornerbacks, 38, I believe. Um, the holding, or I don't know who it was. Somebody was holding the tight end, so it brought him to the 1 yard line, and that's when I knew it was over. Like, oh man,
Yeah. It was just hard to see. I mean, going back to the first possession where it kind of made a mistake because it was 27-24 and they had a chance to actually take a bigger lead and not give a Broncos a chance. So I think we were actually talking a little bit during this game when it was happening. Like they need to score a touchdown. I was like, you know what? It's fine. You know, they can take some time off the clock. They can manage the clock and then they just got to trust in their defense. But you know, they had momentum going. I mean, there was some good rushing. There was some good, definitely some great rushing by Justin Jackson. I mean, it was unfortunate we couldn't capitalize on that possession with a touchdown, you know,
yeah,
during that play. And, you know, it's unfortunate. I think a lot of the penalties had an impact definitely during that game. And then going on to the final end game play, I was just, you know, I think as a coach, you kind of have to just be like, well, you know, we got to manage the clock. We can make the time go as low as we can to kind of maybe give them less time on their hands because I know they had to use timeouts because it was getting closer to 2 minute warning. So I thought they did great, some great clock management. However, when they actually got to the second possession, it was just, you know, just a lot of things weren't going our way. I think they were like 20, 30 yards away. And I think it was like 7 seconds left. I mean, only a pass interference penalty was killer at that time. I think that's like that's killer to any defense. When you're 7 seconds left in, they have like 20 plus yards to actually make a touchdown. You know, if they actually just spiked it down, it would have just been, you know, almost game over. I mean, they would have like 1 or 2 possessions left, but
yep,
just seeing that just seeing that penalty come in, it really made me like hard to watch. And then going down to the last play, you know, I was still believing in our defense, like they could at least shut it down or at least make the clock go by.
yeah. I don't
But
know
it
how they
wasn't.
left that wide receiver wide open. I was like, bro,
Yeah. And he got that. He was able to lean back and just get that touchdown in, you know, just lean back and his bottom just hit the touchdown. And
yep.